Hello, everybody. Welcome to 15 Minutes of Fame. And welcome to Drew. Hi, Drew. How's it going, man?
It is going fantastic. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's it's been a little hectic, but hectic is good.
Hectic is fun,
good, right?
It's not boring. Boring is worse.
I am not bored.
That's good.
There's no boredom happening here. So let me tell everybody a little bit about what this is. This is 15 Minutes of Fame. So it's 15 one-minute works that are written for a specific musician or instrument or ensemble. Last year, the project put out more than 15 calls for works to celebrate the 15th year of 15 Minutes of Fame. We've been just doing this kind of huge celebration, and Drew offered to come back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a couple years ago. I did 2 more sets, so 60 pieces total now.
That's right. Yeah, so everybody wrote a bunch of pieces for Drew, and then he picked 2 sets very quickly. In fact,
I was so excited when I got when you sent the message, everything had been submitted. So I immediately sat down and combed through everything that night because I was just so excited for it.
Awesome. So yeah, we've been doing this project for about 15 years. We've done over 100 different musicians and ensembles. So we've presented and produced and premiered almost 2,000 works, which is great. And
that's incredible.
We like doing it. And yeah, so here we are. When the project first started, it was part of Composer's Voice when it was a chamber concert series, and now we're here online. Actually, Drew is one of the musicians that got us online.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There was a lot of terrible things about COVID, but one thing that was really good about COVID, in my opinion, was how it really brought the world much closer and so much virtual things happening. That's something I've loved to do. I've been able to interact with people from all over the world.
It's been great. Yeah, I would say that was so 15 Minutes of Fame has always been like an international sort of project. But it was great to premiere pieces in New York City. It's awesome to get a New York premiere, but it was just hard to, it's hard to travel to New York City for 1 minute. Some people did.
Oh, of course.
We had a lot of people travel from all over, which is great. But yeah, it's not completely practical. Mm-hmm. So the online format really, really helps as far as that goes. Drew, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where are you? What do you do? Who are you?
Yeah. So it all started January 9th, 1998 when I was born. Now, in all seriousness, my name is Drew Hosler. I am a saxophonist currently based out of Cleveland, Ohio. I did my undergraduate studies at Bowling Green State University, graduate studies at the University of Michigan, and I'm currently on faculty as the Academy saxophone faculty at the Cleveland Institute of Music, where I've been teaching for just about a year now. I have some terrific students there that I really enjoyed working with. In addition, I conduct a chamber winds ensemble through the academy there. Other than that, I have 2 cats that I love. I have a corgi who will probably make an appearance at some point.
All right.
And yeah, as a saxophonist, I really love working on new music. I think the saxophone is such a young instrument that so much of our repertoire already has to be 20th and 21st century unless we go into transcriptions. And something very specific that I like to do is work with the tenor saxophone. So when it comes to the saxophone family, your main 4, soprano, alto, tenor, bari, alto gets like 90% of the love, 9% of the love goes to soprano, and then the other ones are forgotten about. The tenor saxophone just has not had as much repertoire written for it as other instruments. So through this project and through a lot of other things I've done, I've been able to work with so many composers on writing some really terrific tenor saxophone works, and to showcase what the tenor saxophone is capable of and what it's able to do. And we're going to hear 30 new pieces tonight.
Yes. So yeah, let's get a little taste of some of the pieces, and we'll come back and talk some more. So yeah, so these are all 1 minute pieces. These are the first one up is from, I'm gonna butcher everybody's name. Yeah,
that's why you have to pronounce them and not me.
That's right. But this is we have a lot of veterans for this particular 2 sets, so it's gonna be fun. But this is composer pianist BUGRA BALCI. He's from Europe. I forget exactly where, but this is his piece, Partita for tenor saxophone in D minor. Well, I think the tenor sax should get a lot more love.
I completely agree.
It's beautiful. Yeah, I was just reminded that Mr. Balci is from Turkey. That yes, from David BOHN. Reminded me of that.
Thank you.
Yeah, David BOHN. So he's out in the audience. Let me speak about the audience first. Anybody has any questions or comments for us, please feel free to put that in the chat. We would love to hear from you. So David BOHN, he's kind of been he's our recruiter in a little way, right? I mean,
yep.
He's the one that first introduced you to 15 Minutes of Fame, correct?
Yes, I've worked with David on a number of pieces. I completely have lost count, not only solo saxophone works, but also with my new music ensemble, The Blank Experiment. He's been very kind and has written many pieces for myself in the ensemble. So yeah, that was how you and I had first become connected, Mr. David.
That's right. And so we're going to be doing 60 pieces plus, I get a feeling. But, and you also are with this ensemble called the Blank Experiment.
Yes, yeah. So the Blank Experiment, it is spelled the 5_ experiment. We thought it was really cool at the time, but now it just kind of makes it a nightmare to type constantly. But the Blank Experiment originally started as a saxophone, clarinet, and harp trio. I know, very common, very standard instrumentation. From there, we've added members. Members have moved on to other things. We've just kind of added members based on personalities and less on the instrumentation making a ton of sense. But we do everything from solos up to quartets plus. Right now, our main core ensemble is myself on saxophone. We have an oboist, Ava Worth, who has also done a 15 Minutes of Fame call. And then Michelle Cusick on clarinet and Maya Grossman on bassoon. We've also had harp players come in. We've had a percussionist come in. So yeah, we do a bunch of crazy new music. We actually have a concert coming up in just under 2 weeks with New Music Chicago for New Music Chicago Presents. Where we'll be playing a bunch of pieces by New Music Chicago composers, premiering quite a few works. Yeah, and including one piece who we'll hear his piece later tonight, Stanley Hoffman. He wrote us something that we'll be doing for New Music Chicago.
Excellent. With that said, let's play a little of David Bohn. He is next. Cool. And just for all the viewers out there, well, you know what? Since we're doing 2 sets of 15, we're gonna play every piece twice. How about that?
Perfect.
two different angles. I love listening to pieces twice.
Exactly. You can listen for something different the next time.
Exactly, right? Let's play the next piece is China Rose by Ross James Carey, and he is well, he's currently residing in China. Awesome. And the next piece is with Eric Delgado. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yes, a lovely, lovely piece.
And let me bring on Jan Willem. Jan, how's it going?
Really nervous now.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us from the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and about this piece that we're about to hear?
Well, about myself, I studied clarinet and saxophone at the Utrecht Conservatorium, and also composition. And then I started working as a music teacher, taught music for mostly children for about 30 years. But situation in my country is really bad with subsidizing by the government, and the music schools, all the music schools that I was working at, closed down.
No.
So I had to change my career. Fortunately, I'm reasonably good at my languages, so I managed to build a new career as a freelance translator. And I've done that for about 20 years.
Okay.
Now I'm just recently retired, and now since I'm retired, I have time for composing again. I'm writing a lot at the moment.
Excellent.
Including for 50 Minutes of Fame.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
I'm really excited about Drew playing my piece. I had never heard Drew play, but from what I've heard up till now, you're a really fine player. I'm really honored that you're going to play my piece.
I'm very excited for it.
About a piece, I tend to compose in quite structured ways. I've called this string theory because it's basically a string of notes, and I've added some theoretical concepts to it, notably the Poisson distribution, which is what you get when you observe a relatively rare events in nature, like when say in some town there are 3 babies born every week, which means that there is 0.4 babies born every day. That's relatively rare. And then the Poisson distribution is a mathematical formula which tells you the chance that tomorrow there will be 0 babies born, or 1, or 3, or 75. I've used that formula. I often use that formula in my compositions, and so what I've done here is that basically the saxophone plays low Ds all the way through, but then for every D that he plays, there is a chance that it gets kicked up a little bit, or a lot. And during the piece, in the beginning, that chance is very small, and during the piece, it gets higher and higher and higher. So the notes get higher and higher, and at the end, there's hardly any low Ds left anymore.
Awesome. I can't wait.
Yeah, thank you so much for writing it. Hope everybody enjoys.
Okay, thanks.
Fabulous.
Thank you.
Yeah, Drew. Love it. Yeah, Stanley Hoffman. I don't know if he's listening out there, but he's a returning champion. He's been on several of these sets of 15. Yeah, you said you were playing him in Chicago?
Yes, yeah. A piece that I believe was originally for 15 Minutes of Fame that he arranged for our ensemble. David, might be a piece he wrote for you. It's Let me get the exact title of it. David, I think you're still in the chat, right? There is, while I'm doing that, something else about Stanley. For those who are not Facebook or Instagram friends with him, he's going through a battle with cancer right now, so please keep him in your thoughts. And Stanley, if you're listening, we hope things are going as well as they can.
No.
So it is a 2-part tango homage to Piazzolla. I think that was something that he wrote for 15 Minutes of Fame.
It is.
Yeah, he arranged it for the Blank Experiment, and we're doing that.
Awesome.
But yeah, so no, that's he's written a couple pieces that I've played, and it's always fun getting to play his stuff.
Great. Yeah, and I think I'm going to see if unless there's a composer out there that objects, we'll see if we can play some single, not do, double. We won't double everything. There is time constraints. There are time constraints.
And if any composer wants the video, just shoot me a message and I will send it to you.
Yeah, or say something in the chat. We'll be happy.
Yes. I have all of them in a Google Drive, and it would be very easy for me to send them along.
Rock on. Yeah.
I did multiple camera angles in case one of the cameras didn't work.
Oh, yeah, no, it's great.
One piece, why the camera stopped working. I forget who it is, but there is one that there's only one take of it.
There's always technical difficulties.
Also, I do want to say, because I think Brian is in the chat. Thank you, Brian, for writing your piece. Always great getting to play your stuff.
Awesome. And our next piece is by Eduardo Luis Patricia called Nīvaraṇa. Hold on, let's. Woo!
Woo!
Great end.
Halfway.
Halfway point. So that was the first set of 15. Is there any particular reason why those 15 over?
One thing that I strive to do when programming music, and I think is probably my favorite thing about 15 Minutes of Fame, is the idea of stylistically going back and forth between ideas between pieces. Because I am somebody who promotes new music as much as I possibly can. I try my best to work with composers and present new music to a variety of different audiences. And the complaint that I will get from a lot of stuffier classical musicians is that all new music sounds the same. And I don't see how somebody can listen to those last 15 pieces and say that all new music sounds the same. All of these pieces have been written within the past year. And I think the reason I picked these 15 in the first half and the other 15 in the second half is so it goes back and forth between, you know, something more tonal and then something that is multiphonics and screeches. And both, I believe, completely have value. And I really love showcasing both next to each other. So if you don't like this piece, that's okay. You might like the next piece. And if you like one piece on here, I encourage everyone at home who maybe doesn't like new music. I think everyone watching this is probably, you know, a new music person. But what I always say to people is find one piece you like on a new music program and look them up on Facebook, see who they studied with, and then see who they studied with, and see who they're friends with, and you can kind of build out your knowledge of new music that way. It just starts with one piece.
And you might, you know, you'll find something nice. I mean, there's a lot of great new stuff. And, you know, not to say that the greats aren't bad or anything. They're old.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And I want something written about what's happening now. And I want pieces that deal with today's issues. And on top of that, like for me, music is such a social thing. I met my wife through music. We're both saxophonists. We met in undergrad in the saxophone studio. I've met some of my best friends through music. Like at our wedding, most of the groomsmen and bridesmaids and everyone were musicians that we had met. Like music's about people. So I think people being composers, performers, audience members, all of us coming together helps to build a new music community.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let's get on to the second set.
Yes.
We're going to start with a composer from Madagascar, in fact. Right? I'm pretty sure he's from Madagascar. Wait, let me check. Definitely Africa. Hold on. Yeah, Madagascar. And let me Netanya Adramastra. See? Totally butchered that. But let's start with his piece, Around the Campfire.
Perfect.
Awesome. And let me bring on Eric Branch. Eric.
Hi.
Hi, how's it going? Eric, you are a veteran of 15 Minutes of Fame.
Yes, I guess I am.
I think you've been
I lost
writing.
track of how many.
Yeah, I mean, you've been writing for almost 15 years.
Well, my first one was 2012, so close to that.
Close. Welcome.
Well, thank you.
So, Eric, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and
Sure.
this piece coming up?
Of course. I'm originally from New York City. I studied at Hunter College, where I earned my BA and master's. Currently, I live about 14 miles north of Orlando, Florida. I'm active as a pianist, a musical director, composer, of course, operatic tenor. That is, I have sung with opera choruses and so forth, and I've acted on stage and screen, not so recently. But anyway, getting onto this piece, which is called Phantom Coursers. Now, I always find the title is harder to come up with than to write the piece. And so the rhythm of the rhythms of the piece, with this sort of da 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 da, suggested to me ghostly horses in the sky at night. Ooh. And the phrase phantom coursers came to mind. It turns out it's originally from a totally forgotten Oxford Prize poem of 1850, which says, what steel-clad forms on phantom coursers fly? What noise of battle hurtles in the sky? If you didn't recognize that, it's The Hall of Odin by T.F.S. Rollins.
Wow.
Totally forgotten.
Sounds great. Wow. Let's hear some horses from Odin. Great piece.
Yes,
And
thank you.
let's bring on Neil. Hi, Neil.
Hey there.
How's it going?
It's going pretty good. Yeah.
I love your background and the song singing in there.
The birds are so
Yeah.
pretty.
The outside is really nice right now. Yeah.
Yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you are, and this piece coming up?
Yeah. So I'm a composer, music theorist. I used to say I'm a recovering saxophonist, but I am now a relapsing saxophonist.
I'm so sorry.
So I've got back into playing a lot more recently. I've been living for the last couple of years in Tennessee, and this particular piece is one that I wrote. We had Hurricane Helene last year, really just decimated the region that I'm in, and we had to cancel school for a couple of weeks, and I was, stuck at home worrying about my students and about my friends and my colleagues, and writing music became as it often does, a sort of way to exercise some of those emotions. And I wrote during the actual storm, I wrote a very angry piece for solo saxophone. And then I sort of walked my emotions back and worked on this piece, which was, I'm often very focused and structured about the way I write music, and this piece was not that. This was just me. It really did start with me just improvising on the tenor saxophone, and trying to work through some of the emotions I had, and then come back to it and try to develop it into a cohesive thing, and sort of work with a combination of my emotions and but also think about what the tenor saxophone added to that picture. And I really like writing music for Drew. He played back during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote a series of miniatures. I was sort of doing 1 to 2 miniature pieces a day, and just posting them on Facebook, and whoever wanted to record them could record them. And I don't remember which number it was, but it was pretty early on.
7?
It was like 7 or 8. Yeah. I wrote this kind of wild, just angry, energetic multiphonics and altissimo and slap tongue everywhere piece for saxophone. And Drew, I think you posted your version of it like a day later.
Yeah.
And then he recorded that and released it on an album of miniatures. And we're also.
It is 8. I just checked out on Bandcamp. You can still find the album on Bandcamp. It is Isolation Miniature number 8, supercharging all of the introverts.
And how many did you write?
I think I got into the 30s.
Nice.
And they were all sort of in the vein of 50 Minutes of Fame. They're all little miniatures. So it's really fun. And Drew's a great person to write for. We're collaborating at the moment. Drew's gonna be premiering a concerto I wrote for tenor saxophone and orchestra in November, which was a really fun piece to write, and I'm so looking forward to it. I'm so looking forward to this as well.
Well, the concerto is a fun piece to learn. This was a fun piece to learn. It's always a pleasure getting to work with you.
Awesome.
Thanks.
So yeah, let's hear this piece, Cruel River. Very true.
Thank you.
Let's bring on our next composer, and I think it's Dominic, right? Wait. Pretty sure it's Dominic. Now I have to look at the schedule. There we go. There's a lot of plates spinning in the air here.
You're doing
Dominic. Oh. I have a story. Dominic, make sure to unmute yourself. At the end, we'll talk about the request extravaganzas. But that's
hello,
Dominic. How are you?
I'm very well. Yes, I'm in Europe, so it's the middle of the night for us.
Thanks for being a
Thank
part
you.
of this. Drinking a cup of coffee, hanging out.
Well, I've actually had a couple of beers because we've been playing Emily Meyer's Third Symphony.
Nice.
Mm.
Even better. Beer is much better than coffee.
You heard it here first, folks.
Dominic, tell us a little bit about you. Where in Europe are you from?
Well, I'm Irish, but I'm from London.
Okay.
So yeah.
Cool. And you're a composer? A little bit?
Composer, yeah, and do one or two other things as well. So, I sort of work in the business. I promote musicians' rights, which is a very good thing to do.
Yeah, we are all advocates of that. And what are we going to listen to next? Tell us a little bit about it.
This is one of those sort of random pieces. It's very spontaneous, but took a little bit of honing. So it was literally I travel between Brussels and London regularly. I was on the train, and Drew had asked for these pieces, and I thought, yeah, okay, tenor sax, yeah, that's nice, and literally started writing as the train was leaving the station. And that's it.
On leaving the station.
On leaving the
There's
station.
the title.
That's it. Yep.
Great. Well, with that, let's get the train moving.
Thank you.
Awesome, Drew. Drew, I really love the sort of fluid motion you have from like just going from style to style, piece to piece, like just there is such a great wealth of aesthetic and style and so forth in new music. That's it's why I like this project, because it gets to show it all. But everybody should understand how difficult, I guess, and masterful it is that for you to be able to just dip your toe in and do another sort of style. And
well, thank you. I really appreciate that. It's it's what I really, really love to do. And something I also love is like, not only with 15 Minutes of Fame, but with so much of my own programming, is shorter pieces just mean more people can be involved. Like, I love that there's 30 composers on this program, and we've already met how many composers, and we're about to meet another composer right now.
Yes, Jason. Let's say, hey, Jason.
Hi, good evening. How's it going?
It's going good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. I'm streaming to you all from Phoenix, Arizona, where it's 94 degrees.
Woohoo!
For those of you who aren't in the U.S., that's about 34 degrees. Pretty toasty.
It's 79 here, and I'm dying. I can't deal with it.
It's a pleasure to be on the stream. You all have done several of my works in the past, and it's good to finally hear that. This is not even the first recording of my music that Drew has done. He did a couple other miniatures of mine. He did the premiere performance of Lithium. He also did a tune called Sax Harp for soprano, sax, and harp.
Wow.
And we're doing another collaboration sometime in the fall with a very Palooza project where 100 composers wrote solos for Barry sax.
Nice.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
Fabulous. And tell us a little bit about this piece coming up.
Yeah, beryllium. It's one of the elements on the periodic table. Every once in a while, when I get stuck on another project that I'm working on, I start writing one of these miniatures. And I have this technique of musical cryptography where you can take letters and numbers and feed them into musical notes. And when you have a system where you can generate pitch material like that, it makes writer's block it makes it at least a little easier to handle that. And in this small form, it works really well. So it makes me feel good when I'm not writing a lot to have something, where I can actually complete a piece.
Right. Sure. And so all this piece is derived from the name?
Yes, the letters of the name beryllium, its symbol, its atomic number, and various properties, the atomic mass, melting point, boiling point, that kind of a thing.
And Jason also wrote a really cool blog post on his website about the piece that I highly recommend.
Yeah, the music doesn't programmatically sound like beryllium. It's a very abstract method of encoding the properties of beryllium into music. And I've got a whole series of these. Every once in a while I start writing one, and I have maybe 10 of them so far, and that means I have 108 more that I can write.
There we go.
He just sent me one in my inbox, soprano, sax, or oboe. So
Nice.
Yeah.
108. I can't wait. Yeah, here we go. Beryllium. Awesome. That is fantastic. I love it.
Yeah.
Fabulous, Drew. What a great double set. Double trouble, double trouble, everything.
Yes.
Awesome. We missed one of the composers. Let me bring up Joshua. Joshua, hi. There we go. Welcome.
Oh, can we hear you? No, we can't hear you.
Are you there? No,
I can't hear you.
Hello. Keep talking. No. Everybody, this is Joshua.
While he's figuring that out, I will also say to all the composers, if you want the videos, just shoot me a message. I've already had a couple messages during this that I've sent them along. Just let me know, and I'll be happy to send you the videos.
Yeah.
Joshua, we got you yet?
Do we hear me now?
Oh.
Yes.
Yes, and we hear Neil.
There we go. Okay, so we just had to get rid of these.
Welcome, Joshua. Hey,
Yes.
before we have our main discussion here, tell us a little bit about you and your piece.
Oh yes, I'm still, finished grad school right when COVID hit. which led to this very fun sort of dry period of not writing. Writing, but not writing. So I'm really just this year getting back into the scene, so to speak. And yeah, had a great time, great opportunity writing duo, getting into just this idea of it. Actually, I wrote it out as two different melodies that I then split into a single part, hopping back and forth between the notes. Yeah, just a fantastic opportunity, and Drew did an incredible job with it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Drew.
Yeah, bravo.
Yes,
Wonderful.
thank you,
I loved every playing. Was amazing. There.
I feel like we're in the jungle.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it's always a little disconcerting to think I'll never write anything as beautiful as Birdsong.
There are people who always say, "Oh, the tenor saxophone, it doesn't make sense in classical music," and they're wrong.
I
They're
couldn't
wrong.
agree
It's
more.
such a gorgeous sounding instrument.
I couldn't agree more. The alto gets all the love, and the tenor just doesn't get the love it deserves.
Absolutely.
Beautiful playing, really.
Thank you so much. Thank
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
These were all great pieces, everyone. Really, really great. So yeah, so this is 15 Minutes of Fame. I'm always interested to know, like, you know, people's comments and thoughts and things that like they like and hate about the project.
Well, I've been writing musical miniatures like this for a long time now. My harmonic language tends to be closer to the modernist, and that suits itself to shorter pieces. It can just be grating if it goes on and on and on. So I enjoy having the opportunity to write for a project like this. And with that musical technique that I described, not all the letters and numbers are evenly distributed. So sometimes the music sounds remarkably like it's in a key, and other times it's very dissonant. But yeah, I had a great time working on these miniatures for this project.
Yeah, this type of writing is, I adore it. I actually, my first ever non-student performance of a piece of mine was through 15 Minutes of Fame back in 2013, 2014.
Okay.
Javier Perez Garrido did a series of romances for clarinet, which he actually released an album of last year, and one of my pieces was on that, which weirdly was based on a
As it comes slowly,
Emily Dickinson poem, yeah, which uses a very similar system to I think what you use now, Jason.
Yes, I stole that from you shamelessly.
Yeah, that encoding text into music, which actually is going also into the concerto I wrote for Drew. There's elements of that, but the whole idea of writing miniatures for a single person, it's such a wonderful way to approach music, because it's so intimate in every way. It's about the relationship between the composer and the performer, the composer and the instrument, and it's manageable. Like doing the concerto, like that's a half-hour piece of music. That's so much work. That's so much time spent investing in something. But 15 Minutes of Fame, it's really a thing where you can really establish those sort of relationships between a composer and a performer, a composer and an instrument, in a brief time, and have it performed so well. It's a really, really special thing.
I've met so many composers through 15 Minutes of Fame where their piece has either expanded out into something larger, become a movement of, in a series of other pieces, and so many of the composers I've worked with time and time again, and it's just a great way to build relationships and meet new people.
Well, I thought that was like kind of always part of it, because I'm a composer too, and I get like it's hard to meet musicians and like, you know, what do you say? Hi, I've got a piece for you. You know, and you know, how long is it and this and that and stuff. So this was just kind of a way to like, you know, make a little a musical handshake. So to speak, you know?
And it forces you to be concise, and you can't dawdle. You have to get right to the point. And
yeah, you've got to come up with a complete musical idea, and it's got to make sense. And it's a bit like a Sudoku or a haiku puzzle, like a little puzzle like that you have to make into a coherent piece of art.
I almost think of it as a commercial. You haven't
it that way too.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Well, everyone, thank you for being part of this show. It was just, like I said, it's like a double the fun. It's been
thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, all the composers here. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, all the composers listening, and to everybody else listening. Thank you all so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And we'll see you on the next time. Oh, yeah. So, 15 Minutes of Fame has been presented on Composer. Well, it started on Composer's Voice, and now it's everything is sort of transferred into video. So, Composer's Voice is now a TV show here on cable access in Manhattan, and so we've been presenting 15 Minutes of Fame there, and then this Saturday we're doing Mary Hubble with the ARIA project. So, you know, if you love these miniatures and you've been listening and so forth, check us out on Saturday. And yeah, and we'll be doing lots more of these. I think there are 5 more sets we're gonna premiere over the next 2 months, so it's gonna be fun. This is 15th year. Gotta go strong.
Indeed.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you again, everybody.
Yes,
And
thank you.
I'll see you on the next one.
All right.
Thank you
Good.
all.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.